Welcome to Middle-Aged Geeks. I'm Carrie,
I'm Brandon.
and this is episode 1, season 2.
Season 2, Series 2.
Series 2, yeah, we're like a British television show. You get 3 episodes of pure gold, and you don't hear from us for over a year.
I think 3 episodes of Pure Gold is being pretty generous.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is our best of 2017 episode, and we're just be looking at video games, movies, TV, books, music, all that kind of stuff, and try to keep it to a top 5 or so, or less, or maybe a little bit more.
Or, whatever. No strict guidelines here.
No strict guidelines. So I'm going to start it off, and we'll talk about my top video games of the year. These are games that I played in 2017, not necessarily games that came out in 2017. So the first one is Skyrim Special Edition. The last episode we did, I was fresh into this game and talking about it a lot because it came out because it came out in 2016. But I was still playing it in 2017 and probably played it more than I played the original Skyrim in the 6 years since the original Skyrim came out. So
yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
I still haven't played 1 minute of that game.
Yeah, it's a great game that everyone except for Brandon has played. So there you go.
And you were taking videos and posting.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna get back at that someday. I'm sure. I haven't played it in a few months, but yeah, I was doing a Hanzo the Magical Cat Ninja and having quite a good time, completely and utterly ignoring the main quest entirely. So,
so that was your number 5.
My number 5. Number 4, Mario Kart 8 DX Deluxe, I guess.
That was basically just a Game of the Year edition, right? Where
Exactly, yeah.
They added in all the DLC from the previous iteration, and you don't have to unlock it; it's already there. Plus, they added in the Splatoons.
Yeah, and they also added from Double Dash the ability to hold 2 items at once.
Right,
that was an addition too, which
super handy.
And they changed the battle mode to actually make sense and be a little more fun, though it's still kind of just mass chaos with no idea what's going on until it's over.
It'll just never match up to Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart 64 was the best battle mode.
Yeah, it was. It really was. So I like the Super Nintendo battle mode too. But.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, but that's mostly nostalgia talking.
Yeah,
I think.
I actually got to play a little bit of that at PAX recently, which we'll talk about in a future episode. All right. So anyway, my number 3 was Heroes of the Storm, coming in again for the 3rd year in a row.
Long time favorite. I can't get enough of that game.
Yeah, that's a game I will maybe go 3 weeks without playing it, and then I'll play no other game but that for the next 2 weeks. That's it's still kind of my nightly. Let's play Heroes. That's my game right there.
I might go a week or 2 without playing here and there, but for the most part, I play no less than twice a week. I at least twice a week I play. This has been going on for I don't know, a long time now. However long the game's been out.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is I don't feel like I'm actually getting any better at it whatsoever. I think I plateaued at a mid bronze, and I'm fine with that.
But see, I feel differently. I think generally, my skill level with most things is I learn, and then I shoot up, and then I plateau, and then I crawl after that. And I think that I've been crawling lately with Heroes. I've been getting pretty darn good. Now my 2 problems with Heroes that keep me from being as good as I could be are A, my computer is a toaster, and so it gives me a lot of grief, and then B, I have some problems with my internet connection, but I believe I have that fixed now.
Oh yeah, well that's good. All right, my number 2, Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey.
Maybe I had a hard time deciding if this was number 2 or number 1. This is one of my favorite games I've ever played.
Of 2017?
Yeah. It's one of the best games I've ever played. I adore this game. I haven't played it in a few weeks, but I was in there. That was the only thing I wanted to play for a while. That got me away from Heroes for a solid month. There's so much to do, and you finish the game, and then there's still more, and it's challenging. You think it's not, and then it's more challenging than you thought it was.
Mario Odyssey is about 90% end game content.
Oh yeah.
You fly through the story, which is amazing and awesome and fun, but then you realize it's like It's like Link to the Past. The game just started.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the only Mario game that I think I've ever played where I legitimately felt bad for Bowser. I'm like, oh, you know what? Poor Bowser, he's got it rough.
Well, there was Mario Sunshine where there's that scene where he's in the hot tub and
Oh, yeah.
he's like, oh, I just want her to love me.
That's true. I forgot about that. All right, and my number one. Yeah, no, I was wrong. It's no contest.
I was
This
gonna
is
say.
maybe. I think it might just be the best video game that I've ever played. So you already know what I'm going to say. It's Breath of the Wild.
You were saying
Oh,
Mario
my
Odyssey might be
gosh.
your number one, and I'm like, really? Above Breath of
Oh,
the Wild? I get Mario Odyssey, but come on. Now.
yeah. So I checked my Switch, and I think it showed me at around 190 hours when I finally decided to go ahead and beat the game.
I'm a lightweight. I'm sitting at like 84, 85 hours, something like that.
I put in so much time, and that is on my profile because then I have a second game on my son's profile where he and I play through it, and we've easily put in 60, 70 hours in that one. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely like around 300 hours on that game.
That game, Carrie and I, we've talked about this before. That game is easily, and I'm a longtime Zelda fan. That's easily the best Zelda game, easily. And I have trouble, but I might it's calling it the best game of all time. It's up there. I don't know if it is or not, but it's up there.
And it's crazy. I was listening to one of our old podcasts the other day, and we were talking about Zelda games, and we were just fresh young children who had never heard of Breath of the Wild yet. We'd just seen some videos at E3, and that was it. And it's like a whole other universe now. Every other game is different in comparison. I've gone back and recently and been kind of hopping between Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and A Link to the Past because my son has no attention span and wants me to play a different game every time. And but he enjoys watching me play video games, so I guess that is actually a good attention span. And they are all good in their own way, but Breath of the Wild just hits something.
Breath of the Wild stands alone, man.
It does, exactly.
That game is incredible.
And the DLC, the Champions Ballad DLC, it's like, I mean, it's the best DLC I've ever had in a game.
I can't speak for the DLC. I still haven't touched it. Shame on me, but I still haven't touched it. I can't praise Breath of the Wild though enough without the DLC. It's phenomenal, that game.
All right. Well, you heard mine. Here's Brandon.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and go in reverse order. Number one for 2017, Breath of the Wild. You just can't touch that game. Number two, I'm actually struggling between Heroes and Mario Odyssey because I loved Mario Odyssey, but I blew through it real quick, and I actually I didn't see because for those of you who are new to the podcast, because we've been doing this for a long time now, Carrie's the Zelda guy, and I'm the Mario guy. I loved the story from Mario Odyssey. I played the heck out of that game. But Heroes of the Storm is so endearing. I really can't decide which of those is my number two and my number three. So just you can put those on that pedestal there.
There you go. So same top three, basically.
Right, exactly. My number four is actually another Mario game, is Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I don't know if you actually played that or not.
No.
But it was, like, I bought it because it was a Mario game. And I'm like, okay, it's a Mario game and has Mario's name on it. I'm going to buy it. But it turned out to be like a dark horse, really, really fun game. Strategy driven and all this noise. It was just, pardon me, it was very surprising how much I really liked that game.
Yeah, that game blew everyone away. Like, I think most people expected it to essentially be Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics.
Which was fine for all of an hour or two.
Right.
After that, I got real old.
But instead, it's this dark horse that I was looking. So the most recent issue of Game Informer, they did their top of 2017, and for best strategy game, it was a tie between Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle and XCOM 2. Or the XCOM 2 expansion. Yeah, but XCOM 2 is it's like in a pantheon of like untouchable games that people just lift up as being this is the most amazing game ever. That's also insanely hard. It's it's the Dark Souls of strategy games.
And that's the thing about Mario Rabbids is it's not a blow through game. I'll be honest, I didn't complete the story. It became difficult. I got bogged down with life and I didn't finish it. But it was hella fun. The ride was great while it lasted.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome.
That,
I'm
that,
looking forward to playing it.
that's our video game 2017 category. We need to move on because we're trying to keep these episodes down to a half hour now.
Thereabouts. All right, my top movies. In this case, I only included movies that I actually went and saw in the theater in 2017. So be a little more current. That's a good idea.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because I did see a lot of other stuff this year. I don't go to the theater very much. I only probably went to the theater 7 times, so picking a top 5 wasn't very hard. Number 5, Wonder Woman. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Number 3, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Can you tell we're geeks?
Yeah. Number 2, Logan.
Logan. Oh,
and
man.
Number 1, The Last Jedi. Controversial pick.
Controversial. I'm gonna definitely say controversial.
Yeah.
And
we'll let Brandon take the lead.
Unlike our video games, we don't have the same top 5. At least not in the same order.
No. I see a couple.
Yeah, no.
I see a bunch.
I go to the movies, I would say, significantly more than you do.
Yeah, so take it away.
But, yeah, my number 1 of 2017, and again, it's funny because we didn't talk about this before we made our list, but I did the same thing. I only did movies that I saw in the theater in 2017. And I'm not talking about where they, showed Jurassic Park in the theater. The actual new releases for 2017. So my number 1 is Guardians Volume 2. That movie, it just hit me on all the right levels at all the right times. I absolutely love that movie. And when that movie was out, I was still working at the movie theater. I was still running that. I've since moved on. But yeah, I went in and I saw, spoiler alert, I went in and watched the scene where Yondu died. I had it marked on my little list. And so I knew exactly what theater to go into to watch at what time. And I've watched that scene dozens of times. Oh, that's good. Oh, it's good stuff. Anyway, so number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 2 was It, which I know this isn't even on your list.
I didn't see it. No.
Holy hell, that movie is awesome. It is so good.
I've heard that. Yeah, for horror, I'll see horror like on Netflix on my own in a mostly well lit room, but I don't go to theaters.
And that's the thing is, I don't watch horror very much, but it was It, and I'm not even a particularly big Stephen King fan. It's It. I liked the original. I was curious about this one. And holy damn, it was so good. I was sitting in the theater, and I left the theater, and I was like, shit. Okay, so anyway, so that's number 2. Number 2 is It. Number 3 is Logan, because they finally let Wolverine off the reins, gave him a rated R, and he performed very well.
Yeah.
Very well. That movie was killer.
The stuff with Professor X being senile, that broke my heart. Like, as a kid who grew up reading X-Men since he was like 10.
He wasn't senile. He had a I forgot.
Well, it seemed like he had Alzheimer's. Like, he was forgetting. He was like super. I mean, he was going crazy.
Was it senile?
I mean, he was either way. He was
epilepsy. That's what I thought was epilepsy.
Well, he was losing his mind. He wasn't remembering things. They had to treat him like a child and give him medicine. Like, he seemed like he had Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And it was really upsetting. Like, it just. Oh man.
Yeah. And then the scene where, well, I'm not going to get into that, but that scene, you know what I'm talking about. That was devastating. So that was an awesome movie. Anyway, number 4 for me is Spider-Man, because that movie, I think particularly, my personal opinion, they really nailed Peter Parker's character in that movie, because Tobey Maguire, I really didn't care for. He did okay. Anthony Garfield actually did a really good job, but Tom Holland, they really focused on the fact that Peter Parker's a teenager. He's a superhero and he has all these responsibilities, but he's a teenager. The
best versions of him are teenager. Yeah, right. Like, I mean, eventually in Marvel, of course, now, he's had a kid and he's made a deal with Satan in the comics to bring his child back to life and all that other kind of stupidity.
That's all not on the
screen. But yeah, no, I'm for real. And I honestly think, while I enjoy Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, and I enjoy Amazing Spider-Man 1, I think this is actually the first legitimately good Spider-Man movie. There's other ones that are fun. This one is actually like a legitimately good movie that it cannot be a comic movie. It could just be a movie, and it would be a good movie.
See, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you on that one, because I think that Spider-Man 3 was one of the worst movies of all time.
No, I hate Spider-Man 3.
But Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 or 2. Anyway, I like
those. I like them.
We could probably We could do a whole episode on Legend of Zelda. We could do a
Yeah.
whole episode on Spider-Man movies, and
That's true.
we probably should at some
We
point.
probably will.
But
Okay.
anyway, so that's my number 4, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then number 5, I have Wonder Woman because I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. That's really what it came down to.
You know what? Wonder Woman was really good. It would have been higher on my list if it wasn't for the ending, essentially. It was a really, really good movie. And then, like every superhero movie around now, they felt like, okay, now we've got to have the big showdown with the big bad villain. And I felt like I was thinking about this yesterday. I was walking to work and I was like, you know what would have been really great is if at the end that guy, he reveals these Ares and goes, yeah, life's, that's what I do and it's never going to change and there's nothing you can do about it, and then go away and she just has to deal with the fact that war happens and that she does not have the ability to just destroy the god of war. And it was just dumb. The fight was dumb and it didn't look good either. Like it didn't look good. It reminded me of Doomsday at the end of Batman versus Superman. Like, she's great, but that Doomsday fight is kind of garbage. And the fight with Ares to me was kind of garbage.
DC, they're really trying to catch up to their big brother right now, and they're doing a bad job.
They're doing a very bad job. But all right.
Okay, so that's video games and movies. Next, we're going to TV.
TV, the penultimate season of Game of Thrones.
TV or streaming service.
Yeah. So penultimate season of Game of Thrones, that's my number 5. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. I've read the books, of course, and I am one of those people that read the books first and still likes the TV show more anyway.
Not that the books are relevant anymore.
Not that the books are relevant anymore. Honestly, I think the show has gotten better now that they can kind of go in their own direction and not have to depend on. I mean, it depends.
See, I think it's not as good since they left.
Oh, I've really enjoyed the last 2 seasons a lot. I've liked the decisions they've made where they bring.
I like it. I just think it's a lot more predictable.
That's true. But number 4, Better Call Saul, season 3. I'm a big fan of that show. That is a show where I watch it and all the scenes of his brother, I'm just sitting there like chewing my nails, like feeling anxiety. And that's a good thing. That show just hits me in the gut. It is so well done.
I haven't seen the show. I love Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Bob. I was trying to think of his name. Bob Odenkirk is transcendent in that show. It's so good. Number 3, Legion. Man, oh man, that is so good.
Haven't seen it.
It made me have to go and read the Legion comics.
Have not seen it.
It is, yeah. That show was such just a mind fuck. It was so messed up and so good, and it just Aubrey Plaza deserved an Emmy for that show. Like, that was her character in that show. Just it's amazing. I can't even talk about it. Number 2, Fargo.
Specifically the 3rd season.
It's the 3rd season of Fargo. I think probably the best season so far. I think it's the best. You had Marky Post of Designing Women fame, Charlene from Designing Women, playing the matriarch of a rural mob in the late 70s.
All I know is Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I haven't seen.
Oh wait, I'm getting mixed up. I'm thinking this was the 4th season. Then.
Right.
Or I don't know, whatever
season.
This third. Sorry, I'm thinking of the 2nd season. But Mary Elizabeth Winstead is amazing in this season of Fargo. She is so good, and she was in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
She was in 10 Cloverfield Lane. More notably for me, Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, that's right. She's from Home Flowers.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So anyway, that show's good. She's really good, and Ewan McGregor is amazing.
Ewan McGregor is always.
He's playing his own twin. It was really just very well done. The villain in it is really good, and the heroine in it, just man, when in the first episode when her dad has been killed and she goes into the house and she tells her son to stay in the car and she grabs that shotgun and cocks it and goes to that house to go kick some ass, and you're like, and then she does do so, and oh man, she's just so good at it. And then for me, number 1. This is just always going to be number 1, and wasn't even a particularly good season overall. The Americans. It's my favorite show that's ever been a show. I love The Americans so much. And this last season, I actually thought it was a good season, but it was for a lot of people, it was a boring letdown of a season because nothing really major, crazy happened all that much.
Sometimes you need that.
Yeah, but it was good. Just it was really good, and it was heartfelt. It was a season where you felt like true pain for the characters and true love for the characters. It was just so good, and I love that show. I can't wait for it to come back for its last season. This next season is gonna be the last season, I believe. So, all right, so that's my TV. On to Brandon.
You know, I realize I haven't seen most of your TV list.
Yeah.
Anyway, not that that's relevant. Okay, so for TV, I don't know that I have these in any particular order, but my top for 2017 was Stranger Things. How I got left off your list, I have no idea.
I somehow forgot.
I don't know how you forgot.
That would absolutely be on my list if I hadn't forgot it.
And it's crazy to me because I hear a lot of people bitch and complain about that one episode. But to me,
it's one of the best episodes.
It was so good.
It was so good. I had Runaways stuck in my head for like 3 weeks.
I want them to make a whole spin-off show just to these people. That was such a fun
the gang of other 11, like special kids.
No, it was just the one special kid.
Oh yeah,
they
that's
were
right.
all just
but the gang of freaks and geeks. Oh, it was so good.
It was like X-Men meets the Warriors. It was such an awesome episode.
You know, it makes me think of X-Force. Or X Factor, the comics, like where it's like teenagers and they're being led by Cannonball.
Right.
Like, yo, man, it's so good.
It was an awesome episode. It was a fantastic season.
I do not get what people's problem was with it.
Right.
It was great. I mean, I loved it.
Anyway, so that's my number one. My number two, I'm gonna go ahead and say Game of Thrones as well because that was a really good season. Yeah. Even though, like I said, I think that departing from the books has decreased the quality of the show somewhat, only because to me it feels more formulaic now.
No, you're actually right about that. I just now thought about the Ice Dragon thing.
But it's
a little formulaic,
but it's still fun. Cool. It's still cool. It's a great show. I enjoy every single episode. I don't like John having sex with his aunt, but you know that
doesn't bother me at all.
That's the times.
That doesn't bother me at all.
That's the times.
That's fine.
These next ones, I don't know if they're going to be in any order. I'm just going to go ahead and say Fargo, but I have Hulu. I don't get to watch it live, so I've only seen the first 2 seasons. But I did.
So you saw the Marky Post season then, the ones in the 70s. Oh, it's so good.
And that was the season. Hulu gave that to me in 2017, so I watched it, and it was awesome.
It's Colin Hanks is in the 2nd season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait. I love Colin Hanks.
No. No.
Okay.
No, Ted Danson. And the dude, Owlman, I forget his name. I always forget his name. I know the guy. I really like that actor. He's more than just Owlman. But I like that guy. Anyway, so that guy's in it. Ted Danson.
Yeah, Ted Danson's in it, but I'm going to say Colin Hanks is also in it. Yeah, it's the one with Kirsten Dunst, and it's the one in the 70s. Yeah. Colin Hanks he ends up being a mailman. Turns out he's not going to be a cop. He shoots the main character.
That's the first season.
That's the 2nd season. First season, she's a baby.
Anyway, it's a good show, whatever. Both seasons 1 and 2 were really great. Anyhow,
no, she's not a baby in the first season. Yeah, I am completely wrong.
Right.
Yes, I am totally wrong. She's a baby in the 2nd. She's born in the 2nd season because it goes backward. Yeah.
So after that, I'm going to say Daredevil season 2.
Good season.
Because that was a really great season. I really enjoyed it.
It was, though. I found myself so frustrated in that season because I was mad at
his whole thing with Electra.
No, I was mad at Foggy.
Oh.
I felt like Foggy was just being a real bitch about it. It's like, come on, dude. You literally were in New York City when like 5 9/11s happened and aliens flew out of space through a wormhole. You can't be okay with your friend being a vigilante. Like, you live in a different world now. Calm down a little bit.
Well, I think he in the Defenders he got there, which brings me to my
he gets there in the Defenders.
I'm gonna put the Defenders next because Iron Fist is on my list, but I really didn't like that. I really didn't like it, honestly.
That's what I was saying. I saw that and I was like, you told me you don't like the Iron Fist show.
Danny Rand is such a human piece of shit.
He's good in the Defenders, though. I liked Iron Fist in the Defenders.
He's better in the Defenders, I'll give him that.
But, yeah.
He wasn't fucking annoying me every time he was on screen.
Yeah.
But
the Defenders really wants you to watch Iron Fist. Man. That show is like, hey, you didn't like Iron Fist, you better like it.
It's a shame because I was so excited for Iron Fist. Because he's not the best idea for a character. He's just a standard character, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And he's a great part of the Defenders.
Yeah.
But that season was so disappointing.
See, I watched Luke Cage in 2017 also. I finally caught up on Luke Cage, and that almost made my list. I like Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is a great show.
I think I like Luke Cage the most of all of those series.
Luke Cage is my second favorite. Daredevil's just so good.
Maybe Daredevil season 1, and then Luke Cage right below it. Y'all can't see my hands. I'm making little rankings. All right,
So that's TV.
let's talk about books. All right, so these are books that I fully read in 2017. So I'm actually in the middle of another book. I'm currently reading the first book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen series.
We'll get to that. That's another episode.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that later. I am enjoying it. All right, so these are not really in any real order, except for my top 2 are definitely my top 2. Number 5, The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I think I must have bought this book on sale or something several years ago. I don't know, but I just happened to see it on my Kindle and was like, oh, this looks interesting. I'll read this. It is really good. It had a very unique magic system that reminds me a lot of maybe something between Terry Goodkind and Brandon Sanderson. So I enjoyed it a lot, and it's depressing though. It's like just stuff like, not a bunch of just like people dying all over the place, but just a matter of just people not getting really what they need and what they want. But really good. And the sequel, I haven't read yet, but it seems good so far. Next up, number 4, Arabella of Mars by David Levine. Okay, so Napoleonic warfare, like Napoleonic ships, kind of book, very like Horatio Hornblower, Master and Commander, only it's in space, but also space has oxygen and air, so you can just like sail in their airships instead of sailing ships.
What the hell?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. It's described on the Kindle store as a blend between what are those like classic pulp like Martian novels, like John Carter of Mars. That's what they say. They say it's basically a blend of John Carter of Mars, Master and Commander, and Pride and Prejudice. It's really, really good. About basically a society girl that stows away and pretends to be a boy serving on board a ship that gets like kind of caught up in like intrigue and warfare, and it's really good. Number 3, The Blood Mirror by Brent Weeks.
I need to read Brent Weeks. I've had a lot of recommendations.
Yeah, so he's got 2 big series that people love that I really love both of them. He's got one that's the Night Angel series. It's about an assassin. It's really good, but I think his Black Prism series, which is what Blood Mirror is the most recent book in, it's like the 6th book or the 5th book. The Black Prism series is really good, and its magic system is the most inventive and also grounded of any magic system I've seen outside of the Brandon Sanderson book. It is the next best magic system I've seen to Allomancy.
Really?
Ever. It's really well done. It's all about colors.
Magic system can make or break a
It's
book.
all colors of light, and it's like blue light can be hardened into like something like plastic, and yellow light can be turned into a powerful like liquid, explosive liquid, and so on. It's really good. And Blood Mirror is the most recent book in that series. But then my top 2, I read The Handmaid's Tale this year by Margaret Atwood, and
really good.
it was good, but it was a book where I would have to keep putting it down because I was getting like anxiety, like I was getting I was having panic attacks reading it. It was a very upsetting book, particularly to read in 2017, but very, very good, and I have not seen the series yet though. And my number 1,
of course,
Oathbringer, Brandon Sanderson, the newest book in the newest book by Brandon Sanderson, but newest book at this point in time, the newest book in the Cosmere, the newest book in the Stormlight Archive, and I personally think the best book in the Stormlight Archive. It's still not my favorite Sanderson book. Mistborn is my favorite Sanderson book, but
wow,
The Final Empire. That's my favorite, but Oathbringer is a close third behind Warbreaker probably. And there we go. That's my top books.
I'm going to go ahead and give number 1 to Oathbringer, even though I haven't. I don't know what my problem is, man. I'm sitting at home and I'm playing on my phone, just jackassing around, and I look at my book and I'm like, I should read that book, and then I don't do it. I don't know what my problem is.
I don't want it to end.
I love it. I don't know why I don't read it. Anyway, so yeah, Oathbringer is going to be number one. Anything Sanderson comes out with is going to be on the list. Didn't he come out with another book last year? He comes out with two
Oh
a
yeah,
year.
yeah. He came out for a couple. I don't even remember what else he did. Secret History, Miss for Secret History.
Does that count?
Art. Yeah, I mean no, but it came out. I don't know. He probably another like random
Last year
non-cosplay book.
wasn't Bands of Mourning, was it?
No, he had that snapshot. Snapshot was
That
last year.
wasn't last year, was it?
Snapshot. There's a second Snapshot book, isn't there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I only read
I
the
didn't
first
like Snapshot, so I didn't.
I like Snapshot. Anyway, so number one, Oathbringer for me. Sanderson is just the top of my list all the way around. Until, 2035 when Patrick Rothfuss writes his next book. Patrick Rothfuss, in my opinion, is the only author who even holds a candle to the skill and talent of Brandon Sanderson. Patrick Rothfuss is amazing.
He is amazing.
Anyway,
yeah.
Oathbringer, number one. I didn't read a whole lot last year. But I did finally get around to reading Misery by Stephen King.
I love Misery.
Which, if you haven't read it, it's awesome.
I've only read Misery and The Shining, and then a bunch of short stories, and I like Misery more than The Shining.
I've only read Misery and It, and I liked them both about the same. I need to read more. There's a few more that I want to read, like The Shining. But if you're a fan of the movie, you will like the book. It is equally good and a little more graphic. And I don't know if I should give away the big thing, but it's awesome. Anyway, so also in 2017, I finally got around to reading the Expanse series, which is a futuristic sci-fi series written by James Corey.
Yeah. And I've read the first book in that series, and I started the second, and I just didn't get through it.
I want to say I finished, I stopped in the middle of the sixth book, and I don't remember why.
Gosh, I didn't know there were 6 books. Jeez.
It's the fifth or the sixth, something like that. But it's a really good series.
It is. Yeah.
I really enjoy the characters.
It's good hard sci-fi.
The world he's built is really
good,
fun.
Realistic hard sci-fi. Like they're not.
And this is a series where, like I said, I'm 5 or 6 books in. I can't remember, but the main shadow on the horizon still hasn't hit. So this guy's planning on writing 20 more books.
Oh, jeez.
I'll read them, and they're all going to be good.
Yeah.
But
the series on sci-fi is actually not bad either.
I saw the first episode, and I liked it. I may eventually get around to watching the rest.
Yeah. If you do decide to do that, people listening, the first season of the TV series does bring in some stuff from the second book, even though it's based on the first book. So, characters.
Well, yeah, because they run on different timelines.
Yeah, exactly. Still good.
Anyway, so I read that in 2017. Also in 2017, I read the bulk of the Chew series, which is a graphic novel series. And if you have not heard of that, do yourself a favor and look it up. It's written by John Layman. Art is done by a guy named Rob Guillory, who came to Houston a couple times, and I missed him. I didn't get to see him. But the premise behind the first book, and it gets, like most good books, it grows and expands from there. But the premise behind the first book is there's a guy, a psychic detective, and he gets his psychic impressions from the food he eats. So he'll sit down and he'll eat a hamburger, and then he'll have an idea of where the beef came from and what the cow lived and where on the farm and the wheat for the bread and the cheese and the lettuce. He gets psychic impressions from all these food and the people who prepared it, and that's how he solves his crimes. And the first book is fun. The whole series is crazy awesome. I've read 12. I'm pretty sure there are more out by now, and I will continue to keep reading those.
Yeah. I saw Chew on your list, and I thought it was I got it mixed up with Choke.
No, I read that. I read that like 8, 9, 10 years
I was gonna say, I know you talked about it before, so I'm sure you read it.
That was a long time ago. It's a good book though.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, so that's the best of 2017.
Well, I have one last for music. I'm not usually up on music because I spend all my time listening to podcasts that are better than this one. But there
aren't any podcasts that are better than this.
That's right. I got Portugal the Man's new album, Woodstock. Damn, they are back. It's like albums from like the 70s. Where like the album is an experience in and of itself. You don't want to just like pick one song and listen to it. You just want to listen to this whole thing and become one with the universe. Portugal the Man is so good, and that album is so good, and it's one of those where the whole album makes a experience. And speaking of Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she sings on the last track on the album.
Really?
Yeah. She's a backup singer in it. If you want to check out just that one track, the name of the song is Noise Pollution. So anyway, that is 2017, our best of 2017.
All summed up in 35 minutes.
And we're going to try to be a little more reliable in 2018, but
we've been talking about this, and we've got a schedule set for every Wednesday, so you guys can sleep at night. Every Wednesday we're going to try to release an episode. So
we hope
that's the goal.
All right. Well, until then, I'm Kerry.
I'm Brandon.
See you later.